with County Commission. It is so good to be back together. I feel like it's a family reunion today, seeing everyone. So I don't know when the last time we've been together. March? Probably March, yeah. So it's good to see smiling faces. Well, at least half of you are here up. So welcome to our October 5th, 2020 meeting. We call this meeting to order, and we begin, as we always do, with the traditional prayer. We'll have our chaplain come forward and provide a prayer for the commissioners. This is for the commissioners. And after that, we'll have the pledge. So, Commissioner, join me. We'll get started.
Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We thank our county commissioners, Lord. We ask you to bless them, Lord, and give them the wisdom they need today for this meeting today. Thank you for the work that they do. Thank you for Rowan County, guide and direct today. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll be honest, I was most excited about just getting the pledge together. We do it by Zoom. Sounds like we're doing it in rounds. Judy, you're about 2 words behind. So we're going to let you start next time. We'll follow you.
Okay.
That's all good. So again, welcome and appreciate you here. We'd like to recognize a couple of new folks that we have with us. We'd like to recognize Ben Stansel. Ben is the new political reporter, county reporter for the Salisbury Post. Ben recently graduated from University of Alabama, go SEC. And, so we welcome you here. We wish you all the best. We'll try to make your job difficult by not giving you words to write about unless they're good. Ben, welcome. And then James Howland has taken over as the new finance director. We are still in mourning loss of Leslie Heidrich, who has retired after being our finance director for many years. And so we look forward to working with you. We know we're in good hands here, and so we appreciate you good work and look forward to our time together. Thank you. Welcome. All right, we've got a couple of additions to the agenda, commissioners. One of them is an item to set a public hearing. This came from JD's for a temporary use permit. We're going to make that one item number J, item letter J. And then I also left for you all item from Scott Shelton requesting a public hearing to consider incentives for Project Enterprise. We'll make that consent item K. In addition, if you'll look at item number 5, considering a Patterson request, we are going to delete that from tonight's agenda and pick that up at another time. So deleting item number 5. Any commissioners have any other additions or deletions to the agenda? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? So moved. Second. Craig motion, Jim second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and let's see, the minutes from September 21 have been provided for us. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of September 21?
So moved.
Jim motion, Craig second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey, Judy, with the delay, you gotta be quicker.
I know.
You're gonna have to anticipate the motion. So just
Okay.
don't be afraid, jump out there ahead of us, all right? All right, now we've got the amended consent agenda in front of us. And so we need a motion, Judy, to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
There you go, all right, and then a second, Craig second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Want everyone to participate. All right, then now we have public comment period. Do we have anyone sign up for public comment? No? Okay. Anyone? Anyone? All right, then we'll move on. We'll move on to item number 3. Ed will walk us through this. Ed, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
See you.
Thank you. Commissioner Elizabeth, can you see the ordinance on the screen? Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good. There's a new drink to the mix. So this is the ordinance to extend the moratorium for ground-mounted solar energy systems in the county's jurisdiction. I think everyone is somewhat familiar with where we are and what this applies to. I'm going to go through the ordinance real briefly, summarize some of the sections there that you may have questions about. Okay, so beginning the preamble, there are several paragraphs that have statutory references. In the left-hand column, I tried to summarize what this actually means. So the Board of Commissioners does have the ability to govern Rowan County. They also are given statutorily the ability to enact zoning and development regulations and from time to time modify them. North Carolina General Statute 153A 340H specifies the requirements for establishing temporary moratoria. And it also allows us to extend the moratorium if conditions exist. As we move into the meat of the resolution, the county attorney and I talked about this at length, and really it would be doing us all a disservice if we really didn't have some statements about how COVID has really impacted the federal, state, and local governments. Impacted us in ways we couldn't have anticipated. For my department, it's the ability to meet publicly, have meaningful conversations, and have feedback and dialogue with parties on both sides of the issue. We just have not found a really good way to make that happen for something of this nature. Rowan County is aware that solar-related projects continue to be of significant interest to the industry folks as well as the citizens. And that's why we're adopting this moratorium. We're extending it. Section 1 is just a title reference. It's called the Ground-Mounted Solar Energy System Moratorium. The Board of Commissioners, we think, are enacting this moratorium for several reasons. The first I mentioned just briefly is that COVID has impacted the ability to meet and meaningful discussion. We also know that there are problems in our county with lack of internet resources. For folks to call in and be heard is also a problem. The land use plans that we have, 3 of them in the county, don't adequately address solar facilities. I think the board has heard these loud and clear over the last couple of months. There's complaints related to the construction, the visibility, and just the other impacts that these facilities bring. In 2013, the planning board did adopt some amendments to the zoning orders, but they were rather minor. They just didn't really consider the scale, the location, or the setbacks. And then item E, the decommissioning and ongoing maintenance, is an item that gathered a lot of comments during the last couple of months of the previous moratorium. And so we think that without an extension of this moratorium ordinance, new applications would be submitted that in some cases cause conflict between land uses. For the applicability, it applies to all properties in the county's zoning jurisdiction that want to create or expand the ground-mounted solar energy system. We think this will provide the county the opportunity to study the land use implications associated with these systems. And as proposed, the 6-month moratorium, and that would run from tomorrow until April 6th of 2021, unless the updates are adopted quicker. So what happens during this 6-month period? We've got a schedule of actions. In the next 2 to 3 months, staff has thought that transitioning from a committee approach to the actual planning board to consider these amendments will be a better way to address these. The committee structure was tough to get a quorum all the time. Sometimes they were overpowered with the information that they received from both sides. But I think retelling the story from the committee to the planning board sort of loses some of its emphasis, and I think if they are participating from the outset, they will gain a better perspective. January, our staff will come back to this commission and show you guys what's being proposed. If you think it's on the right course, or you think there needs to be some changes, we'll have time to make those changes. Go back to the planning board. If it looks like they're on the right track, then the February, March, and April dates probably shorten a little bit, and we may be able to get this thing out for a public hearing sometime in February, March. This gives us time to meet the 6-month window. So ultimately, we stretch this out to April 5th, which we can conduct a public hearing, but you can see the schedule of actions sort of fit within what you've seen before with text amendments. It's a planning board approach. They conduct a courtesy hearing, and then they provide a recommendation to the board. The board schedules a public hearing, has their comment, and then chooses to do what they wish to with the amendment. There is an exception to the way this moratorium applies. It doesn't affect anybody that's want to put solar panels at their house or on their structure. It doesn't apply to them. It's only for those that are above that 6,000 square foot threshold. If adopted, the ordinance would be effective beginning tomorrow, through April 6th of 2021. That's real quick. I'll be glad to answer any questions that the board may have.
And does each one of these applications have to come back to the commissioners for approval still? The zoning changes, somebody wants to put a solar farm. And so then we'll come back to us if we have those checks and balances.
Yes, in some format, there will not be an administrative approval. They'll all come back to this board, whether it be a rezoning, conditional use permit, special use permit, conditional district zoning, something like that. Yes, ultimately this board will see that application.
Okay, I just want to make sure whatever we come up with is a recommendation from the planning board. Doesn't, cut us out of zoning.
Yeah.
The application process, just so that we can keep control over exactly where these things are going and how they're affecting the citizens.
Yeah, I think it will be the public process in these is probably going to broaden as opposed to be more specific or I'd just say it would be broad rather than.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Ed? All right, if not, then we'll move to a public hearing. For a public hearing. So is there anyone who would like to speak about ending the moratorium? I don't see it. We'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We had several emails. How are those going to be recorded? Are we going to read them now or just put them in the minutes?
Yeah, and that's a great point. I thought we had someone that wasn't going to speak, so I was sort of caught off guard. If you look at the recommendations that we had in the staff memo, it's a little bit different. We haven't done this in a while, but anyone that was here, did you want to speak about the public hearing for the solar moratorium?
No, for the CDP.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, thank you for clarifying. So if we have any virtual attendees, if they would like to participate now, I think April could let us know if we have anybody that's there.
April, do you have anyone for us?
Yes, we'd like to extend an invitation to anyone joining us remotely. If you'd like to use the raise your hand feature, if you're joining by the Zoom application, or press *9 on your phone to be recognized now.
Give that a minute. By the way, thank you to Randy Press and April for honing our technology so that we're able to do this like this. Thank you all.
Mr. Chairman, I do not see anyone indicating they'd like to participate at this time.
Okay. The other item I would bring to your attention is that due to our circumstances, we've also opened this up for email comments, and those will be accepted tomorrow as well. And so we do have 5 comments that were emailed, and I think the clerk just provided each commissioner a copy, and I see tonight we had by consensus. The commissioners have received them and read them. They've been received from Claudia Register, Carol and Ron Massey, Jackie, Kathy Webb, Ron and Kathy Webb, and Marie Howell. And I would let them know that their comments are being entered into the record.
Good.
Part of the minutes, and that each of those have generally supported the commission extending this moratorium. So Commissioner Edds, I would also remind you that once you do close the hearing, you vote on this, when you get to the end of this meeting, do not what's the term where you want to recess? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
So, Jay and Carolyn, Carolyn, when you look back, I don't know, did I close the hearing? Do that. Oh.
I think the hearing is not the issue, it's the meeting. Mr. Attorney? Yes. So these comments can be accepted into the record. They've already been received.
Just a point of order, by my notes, I have that I wanted to leave the public hearing open.
So because we're going to recess, this portion of the meeting for the special meeting tomorrow, so that's the difference. Okay, so we'll hold that public hearing open and close it tomorrow with a special call meeting.
All right, so we're on track then. So
I'm going to correct myself, Jason, on special call meeting. We're going to recess this meeting until tomorrow for that one. Now,
okay. So at this point, any other questions or comments from commissioners? If not, we'll entertain a motion to extend the solar moratorium ordinance until October 6th, 2020. That'll begin tomorrow. It'll begin on October 6th, 2020 and extend until April 6th. April 6th, 2020. I'm going to say that again. It'll begin tomorrow, April 6th, 2020, and will extend until April 6th, 2020. Do we have some? Thank you. All right, we have Mike second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Thank you, Ed. All right, moving on to item number 4. Randy, public hearing for CDBG CV application. Is Randy going to be here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm remote as well, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all right, well, take it away. Thank you for being here.
All righty. This is for the first of 2 public hearings that are required for the CDBG CV application. So I'll just read through this so everyone understands the purpose. Rowan County is preparing an application to the North Carolina Department of Commerce for the Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus, the CDBG CV, to respond to and recover from health and economic impacts from COVID-19. This maximum grant award can be for $900,000 per grantee, and in this case, Rowan County would be a grantee, with some restrictions for specific activities. There is no minimum grant amount. The objective of the CDBG CV program is to provide programs that benefit low to moderate income people. All activities must result in achievement objective, typically by providing services to LMI clientele or to LMI persons residing in a qualified area. Funds must be used for public services, public facilities, and special economic development activities that prevent, respond to, or prepare for COVID-19. The purpose of the hearing is to obtain citizens' input to the identification of economic needs and desired economic development activities. The input from this hearing will be incorporated into the county's consideration and submission of a CDBG CV application to the Department of Commerce. So there's no board action at this time, and this will just be the first of 2 public hearings.
Thank you, Randy. So we will open the floor. Do we have anyone that would like to speak about our CDBG CV application? Again, this is the first of 2 public hearings. And so is there anyone that would like to speak? Come on.
Yeah, remove my mask to speak. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Cindy Fink, and I'm the Executive Director of Meals on Wheels. I would like to encourage Rowan County to apply for the North Carolina CDBG Coronavirus Grant. COVID-19 has impacted both home-delivered meals for homebound seniors and congregate meals for more mobile seniors. Our food service provider, K&W Cafeteria, closed their Salisbury location because of COVID and has moved our services to Cabarrus County. We would like to offer a grant project that is a new idea and would benefit not only Meals on Wheels and Ruffey Home Senior Center, but also other organizations who can collaborate with us. The project would serve low to moderate income residents and protect some of our most vulnerable and high-risk citizens. We estimate serving over 3,000 individuals and more than 350,000 meals during the 30-month course of the grant. The West End Plaza Kitchen and Transport project, located in the former K&W building, will house a food service vendor from 5 a.m. to noon in the former K&W kitchen each weekday. The vendor will supply meals for both home delivered and congregate clients, as well as schools and other nonprofit customers. After noon each day, the kitchen can be made available to caterers, food truck vendors, entrepreneurs, farmers, and others who need to use a commercial kitchen. The rent will help offset the utilities for the building. 2 weeks ago, during the Local Foods, Local Places workshop, organizations like Rowan Food and Farm Network, the Recreation Department, Red Riot, and Rowan Cooperative Extension discussed goals like developing a commercial kitchen that could be shared. The second part of the West End Plaza Kitchen project would be the purchase of a temperature-controlled vehicle for transporting prepared foods. We expect that this project would need approximately $300,000 in funding over the 30-month period of the grant. We look forward to putting the West End Plaza Kitchen and Transport idea forward for funding. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Fink. Do we have anyone else?
Anyone joining us remotely is welcome to use the raise your hand feature within the Zoom app or press star 9 to be recognized at this time.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here to speak with you guys this afternoon. My name is Patty Overcash, and I'm the new Executive Director for Rowan Partners for Education, and I too are speaking in favor of the CDBG grant today. RPE's mission is to support Rowan Salisbury schools. We know that COVID has hurt a lot of people in our county, but sometimes we overlook the most precious people that it's hurt, is our children. RPE is focusing this year on the need for Rowan Salisbury School students called Passion Projects. Passion Projects funding enables students to complete projects that may have associated costs that families simply can't afford. We know we have the brightest and best kids here in Rowan County, and these kids have wonderful ideas and projects that they are passionate about. Because of COVID, some of our children do not have the items they need to work on or complete these projects. A lot of parents here in our county are barely getting by due to COVID, and when it comes to buying school supplies for a project or food for their family, well, there's no choice to be made for parents. Due to COVID, Rowan's Partners for Education, we're suffering too. We had to cancel our big spring fundraiser and our early summer fundraiser, but we've been working hard writing grants and going after donations for individuals. But there's just not enough grants and money to go around. So we've been limited on how much we can support passion projects. But we simply can't afford to allow students to give up on their dreams and projects that could possibly shape their future. COVID stopped a lot of things in Rowan County, but RPE is determined to not let it stop our students from the joy of learning. We're creating something that excites and inspires these kids. It's for that reason that Rowan Partners for Education is requesting $40,000 from this grant to help make these students' ideas and dreams a possibility. Thank you for the time for hearing us, and thank you for considering Rowan Partners for Education and part of this grant. We truly appreciate each and every one of you guys and the job that you do. I know how hard they are sitting behind this. And thank you for considering us for our children for Rowan Salisbury Schools in this grant.
Thanks, Ed. Do we have any others? Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, none of our remote attendees have indicated they would like to speak.
All right, anyone else? All right, seeing none, we have no action at this time, so we'll just move on to our next item. This is item number 5 was removed from the agenda. So we'll bring up Pete Bogle. Presentation by the Bogle firm for Design Solutions phase of the CARES Act project. Pete, welcome.
All right, April will show you exactly what to do here. Let's see if I remember how. All right. Okay, so as you guys know, we've been through phase 1 of the 2-phase project that we put together for the COVID-19 Relief Fund. And phase 1 is actually under construction, started just a couple weeks ago. And South Cola from Salisbury was awarded that project, and they are moving forward on it. So just a quick recap of where we were on that project. As you know, we were hired to look at different ways to create or to resist the spread of COVID through any of your public projects or public buildings. And we decided to split that into 2 separate phases. Phase 1 was a lot of common solutions of pieces of equipment that you could purchase and install, which is the phase 1 that South Cola is installing right now. You can see over to the right-hand side, those incorporated 35 different buildings through Rowan County. Phase 2, then, and some of the common solutions pieces involved signage and hand sanitizer stations, touch-free devices in public restrooms. We focused mainly on where the public was going to be in more high-traffic areas in your 35 buildings. Design Solutions, phase 2 is what we're here to talk to you about today. The focus there is on providing separation between public and staff with a customer-friendly appearance and functionality as best we can. We want to provide that safety, but we also want to make all our facilities approachable, so it doesn't have the convenience store feel of the whole thing you have to talk through and the plexiglass you can hardly see through. So we're looking at some examples of clear barriers with minimal framing and communication devices that take the place of those around speak-through grills. Improved circulation to allow social distancing. That includes queuing areas, drop-off options, one-way circulation. Improved staffing arrangements beyond just the public staff separation. We also want to provide enough separation between your staff members where we can. Some of our solutions there involve just improved space planning and also new workstations and cubicles that provide at least a little bit of separation between your different staff members. And then touch-free entries was the thing that was asked for, specifically at Justice Center and at 402 North Main, where we have a lot of traffic, and Elections Board. Temperature scan tunnel was another thing that was requested specifically at the Justice Center, and we'll get to a little bit more detail on that further in the presentation. So we have 9 different facilities that are that will be part of this phase 2. We asked the county, I'll show you that real quick here, to give us a priority list. We put together a report that included everything that was requested, and then sent these back to county manager and the COVID response team that we have that he's put together, and had them rank them 1 through 3. And then we put together all the 3s and started with there. So you know we're going to spend all your money. With those ranking systems, the Justice Center, 402 North Main, Department of Social Services, Health Department, Maine Sheriff, Satellite Jail, Magistrates, Election Board, and 911 Communications. Those all received number 3 votes, with the majority of the work going toward the Justice Center and 402 North Main. There are some important pieces in the other 2, especially DSS and Health Department, those are mostly in the lobby areas. From there, you'll see over on the right, I've got all of the other ones listed as alternate. Since we have a very tight bidding and then construction schedule coming up, because all of this work has to be done by December 31, we've set the project up, we've set the bids up such that the contractor will provide pricing that's clear and alternate, so we can, if we need to, pull out some of these projects or some of these areas, instead of trying to pull it out piecemeal. We set it up so you just pull it out. If Satellite Jail is in pretty good shape, you know what, it costs too much, let's just pull that whole piece out to try to make the total budget work. So the plan is, as soon as the bids come in, we total them all up, we can see who is the apparent low, but then we sit down with the county manager and that team and decide from there which of these pieces we want to include and not include, so we can come out to that budget that we need to hit in a quick turnaround time. Because we're bidding it on the 19th, the morning of the 19th, and then presenting it to you guys with all the totals in hand that afternoon, or that evening, I guess at 6 o'clock. So that's the full priorities list, which is completely illegible at that size. All right, and here's the alternates that I was talking about. We do have some minor pieces that are also in as alternates. Justice Center, there's 2 specific areas in the DA's office and the Sheriff's office that they receive number 3s, but we could see those being pulled out pretty easily. The check-in kiosk at DSS is another one. Temperature scan tunnels is something that the Justice Department is very interested in, but if we know a general cost on those, if the budget won't hold it, we know we've got that price to pull that out, and several of the other things to run through as well. Also say that I met with the folks at the Justice Center just this morning with Judge Wagner, with Judge Brown, DA, several other folks there, and they went back through the plans. And they actually ended up minimizing some of the things that they initially said building the courtrooms, so that they could hopefully get to some of these alternates, like the temperature scan piece, the increased security at the front doors, because they would prioritize those. That said, there's been a lot of communication very quickly through a lot of departments. The next few slides are just some examples of some of the products that we have called out in here. These are clear barriers where we have some options of either the freestanding ones that are on the left, that same version, except the bolt down, where those are more necessary. A lot of these are dividing areas, like the public area and the courtrooms from the front area, putting some of these across those banisters there, around the X-ray machines and the Justice Center entries. The one on the right is a clear partition that we're using around some of the judges' benches. One has already been installed in the Superior Court chambers. We're just copying that. And that's specifically the piece that was minimized in today's meeting. They only want one of the other chambers to have that instead of all of them, which was originally the request. So drawings are being edited every 5 to 10 minutes here, I think, in this project. This is an example of one of the communicators that we have. The idea is that you walk up to any of the reception areas. We've got a very minimal window that takes the place of the framed windows that were there, with the opening with the sliders. And then instead of having something you have to speak through, you have this little piece. From the public side, they just walk up and they start talking. There's nothing they have to touch, nothing they have to do. On the inside, the person can control the volume, can control that the person outside can speak. They also have options with headsets, with remote areas where we have some areas that the reception desk is actually away from the window, so we've tried to coordinate all of those pieces. Kind of hard to see here, but another large package of the overall project is millwork, or casework actually. There are a few different departments, especially in 402 North Main, where there's not enough room for people to queue up into those spaces just because of the layouts that they've been there for however long that building's been there. And we're reshaping some of those areas, putting a few partition walls in, reusing some of those demountable partition walls so that whole office or the whole building is divided up with, but then also having to add some reception desks that do have people at 6 feet apart, that have the clear dividers, that have a little pass-through window, and then a place for the communicator. So it's just an example of what that looks like there. And then another big piece of it is the cubicles slash workstations. And we have these proposed in several different departments across the 9 different facilities. But we've been working with one provider right now. That's not the only provider that we're going to look at. There's the opportunity for that provider to be bid out, of course, being a public job. But once we get to how many of the different areas are going to be accepted in, we then have to find out how many of those cubicles can be accepted in as well, depending on which ones you choose. So we've got the cubicles set up on an allowance price. So we have an average price per cubicle slash workstation. That's in the bid. I'm going to have to put together a full Excel sheet that all calculates on bid day, because it works, but it's a good thing that I took algebra 1, 2, and 3. All right, and then one other piece, there was a request. I'm sorry.
Did you pass all?
I did. I even passed them. Yes, I understood math until it got more letters than numbers. Calculus was foreign language, not math. The walk-up window that was requested for North Main in the tax collection office. This citizen would be able to walk up to a window that's outside of the building and do their transactions there instead of having to go in, wait through the queues to get to the tax office folks. And then this is the temperature scanner. This is actually one, the example that I'm showing here is one that's being developed here in town in Integra. And they have been meeting with the county. An example here is this is coming in off of the Liberty Street entrance to the Justice Center. If this alternate makes the total project, then that temperature scanner, all the temperature scanners will be installed right here. Integra is not the only folks that make these, but they would obviously bid on the project as well. Visitor would walk through there. If they pass the temperature scanner, then they go into the conveyor belt area and the scanner. the X-ray machine, all those pieces, the existing metal detector scanner that's here. So our next steps, we will be publishing the drawings with, assuming that we get approvals from you guys, we'll be publishing the drawings and specs tomorrow. The advertisement for bids is already in the county's hands, ready to publish. That will also be published tomorrow with a bid date set at October 19th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just in time for us to have it put together with a spreadsheet for your or to present to you guys at 6 o'clock that evening. Then the project will be awarded. Then 2 days later on Wednesday, and the contractor will have from then until December to pull off all the project. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tight one. But looking with all of the pieces that we've been specifying, we've made sure to emphasize to the vendors that we've talked to, hey, we've got to have this in hand and installed before December 30th can be needed. And anybody that said that they couldn't, we've not included in our specification. So I guess what we need from you guys today is if you have any other questions, I do have a full set of all of the drawings loaded on here if you just care to see those. But what we're after today is just your blessing on the project to move forward.
One question I have is the temperature scanners. I don't know what the cost of those is. I would imagine it's more expensive than a handheld that we're going through in our lives now. I think at the airport where they have bomb detection scanners we go through are explosive materials and metal detectors and things, and those are things that I think unfortunately will be subjected to the rest of our life because there will be a reason to do that for the rest of our life. I don't know how to ask this other than, do we want to invest in something that would appear to be pretty expensive, hoping that in the next year we won't need to be doing temperature scans. No one knows what the future is. No one can predict this, but you see what I'm getting?
Oh, I do, and I'm kind of in the same boat. This is something though that was of high interest to those that I met with this morning.
This is an alternate.
It is. It's listed as an alternate with an allowance price in there. So we know whether we can pull this out or whether we will need to pull this out or not.
Give us an idea of the price of these per unit.
We've listed an alternate in there, an allowance price in there per unit of $35,000 per unit. And that's for the unit itself, wired to installation, or power and data wired to installation.
So 3 of them.
4 of them.
4 of them, 1 for DSS and 3 for justice. So into 140.
So people require anybody to man these pieces of equipment.
So the same people that are now standing at the folding tables and metal detector, the same sheriff's deputies that are there would be who would be watching this. The idea is that it simplifies people having to walk up and get their forehead scanned, and it is a more accurate machine than the forehead scans.
My only concern is it's going to identify somebody's got a temperature. It's not going to identify if they got COVID.
Correct.
So you might have some people come to say court, it's got a cold. And all of a sudden they're not going to be able to take care of their business simply because the machine will say you got a temperature.
That's right, and that's exactly what they're doing with the handheld head scanners right now. In our meeting this morning, they were giving me some examples of what their protocol is right now. Is if you have above 100.4 degree temperature, which is the CDC limit that was set up, then they pull you outside and they work with you to get your date rescheduled. So it's an immediate pull you out, and the sheriff's deputies take it from there.
Okay.
Pete,
We can
this
address-
is Judy. I have a question about the indoor air quality. Does the CDC have a recommended level of, fresh air in and bush air out? Or are we just recirculating air in these buildings?
We are. What we've done in our research, everything we've seen from CDC and actually ASHRAE is the folks who govern HVAC, heating, venting, air conditioning, is that with COVID, most of this is droplet issue. It's up into the air and recirculated through. That's not really where the dangers lie. Even ASHRAE, whose job is to sell these products, their most recent reports say, do all of these other things first, and then if you want to look at air purifiers in your system, then look.
Okay, thanks.
You were talking about putting the window in at 402 North Main Street. And I assume you're talking about the north side of the building there.
That's correct.
That's a one-way street that has a walkway. I can't remember if it's under, I don't think it's under.
It is. It's under that entry across there is recessed. That whole side is.
How much money are you talking about?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what that one might cost.
Because that's a one-way street to begin with, one-way drive going down through there. People can't hardly park there already because, well, by the time you park and then anybody that's going in and out, of course, it's not highly used except at tax time.
So there is, and that's a lot of the issue there. That and also, well, there are some handicap parking spaces that are along that side. There's also handicap access, curb cut up to that side. And then when you get to the back parking lot that's behind the 42 North Main building, there's another ramp that comes up on that toward that north side, so they come around the sidewalk. So there is access to it.
So you're going to put the window in the building, and you're going to have to do something with the roof structure to get the car in close enough to use the window.
No, it is a walk up. It's not drive up.
A wall.
So you park your car, you get out, and you walk up to that.
All right, I thought you were talking about putting some sort of like drive-through.
That was the original request. We're talking to a walk up instead.
Yeah, because you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Well, can you go back to the slide that, this entryways that you're going to address in just a second?
Which, do you have a specific piece?
Liberty Street.
Oh, are you looking at these here?
No, the entries. You have a slide that's about entryways, showing public doors.
We do this instead.
I think you have it listed. It was in the,
Yeah. Here's out of the full set, and this is Liberty Street entry. What they have requested here is a motion sensor door coming in. This is from that platform up on the Liberty Street side. This is an automatic motion sensor door. You walk up to it, it opens. This side of this pair then opens, and you walk in. There's a temperature tunnel here. Then the conveyor belt system to the X-ray machine, conveyor out, the metal detector that you have to walk through here. And then there are two exit doors right now that the doors themselves are kind of falling apart. So we're going to be replacing these 4 doors with new doors and new hardware. This door right here will have an operator on it. It was going to have a motion sensor in our meeting this morning. Sheriff had some issue with that. Okay. Somebody just took over my screen here, probably improved what I was doing. But it'll have a button operator door opener on it. So what they were trying to avoid is people walking past this door, the door opening, and then public coming in through that door instead of going out.
All right, if there aren't any other questions, then we have a motion to approve and allow the local firm to advertise for bids.
So moved.
Second.
Craig motion, Jim second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I know you're busy, Pete. Thank you. All right, just a quick update on our liquor report. This is down from the last one we had. County staff removed 6,560 pounds of roadside debris and litter during the two-week period, beginning Monday, September 7th. Friday, September 18th. I was coming down Long Ferry Road last night, and I see all this garbage on the side of the road, but I never know where it comes from. And I was following this truck with a trailer, and they just threw a whole bag of stuff out the window, and I laid on the horn, and they got away from me. I was going to get attacked and do a citizen's arrest.
You read it off.
Yeah.
Have one,
Couldn't believe it. So anyway, I witnessed it. All right, item number 8, budget amendments. Commissioners, these have been provided for us last Wednesday. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, thank you. Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Let's see, board appointments, local emergency planning committee, Alan Kress, he is our interim emergency services chief. He's applied to fill the vacant public safety seat. Do we have a motion to approve Alan?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Basinger has applied for industrial facilities and pollution control financing authority. This is an at-large seat. So motion to approve Brad Basinger and second. Second. Motion second, all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nursing Home Advisory Committee, Lena Sellers-Crook applied for reappointment. She's fulfilled the term limitation. We have, and this is one of those, it's hard to get folks to apply for. We have a motion to allow her to continue to serve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then we have a motion to approve her for that position. All right. All in favor, say aye. Thank you, guys. Rowan County Rescue Squad, we have a couple of just some record changes to do because we've had some personnel change. Alan Kress was previously appointed to fill that seat as a on the rescue squad as telecommunications chief. He's interim now, so we're going to move him to the emergency services chief. Now Lonnie Owens has been selected to serve as interim telecommunications chief. So do we have a motion to approve those two Rowan County Rescue Squad. All right, Jim, motion. Mike, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we will not adjourn. We will recess until tomorrow. Randy will send us some, he hasn't already, some instructions for our Zoom recess tomorrow.
Yeah.
What time is that? Randy, are you still on here?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
What time is that? Meeting scheduled for?
It'll be the same information, so whatever time you would like to have it scheduled for, we'll use the same meeting information as today.
Yes. Okay, it's got to be 24 hours, so 4 o'clock. All right.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, clerk of the board made us aware of a application that came in for the help.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Judy about that.
Yeah.
I'll say,
Let's go ahead and get that squared away, but I might talk.
yeah, I had the same thoughts. Thank you. All right, then we'll stand in recess. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
We're coming out of recess. Carolyn, do we have any comments that have come in during the past 24-hour period?
We do not.
Okay. April or Randy, do we have anyone else that's on the call that would like to make any comments?
We do have an attendee and would like to extend an invitation. If you'd like to participate in public comment, if you can use the raise your hand feature within the Zoom application, we will get you unmuted. I do not see an indication that our guest would like to speak.
All right, then do we have a motion to extend the solar moratorium for an additional 6 months that will terminate on April 5th, 2021 as specified in the ordinance?
So moved.
All right, Craig, motion.
Second.
Mike, second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
All right, Craig and then Judy, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye. Thank you all. Have a great day.
And you too. Enjoy,
All right.
Grandpa.
Thank you. Bye-bye.